Alrighty folks, I want to welcome you back for another video of Yates Computers Tips and Reviews. This one I'm going to categorize as my 102 classing. This is everything that I think everybody really needs to know for internet safety. And starting out with understanding URLs. I have videos on each of these categories already out there, but this is one that's lumped all together because this is really one that I think is very, very important for everybody to know. And again, you're welcome to train and use this for educational video for your employees and other people in your organization, your friends, your family. Refer them to my site. Go look at this video, go look at that. The other one was a little bit shorter. This one, I want to go through it all together because this is all kind of related to the internet. All the bad that can happen in your internet. And starting with the URL, how you get there, what is a real site, understanding what a real site is. I'm probably going to go through this one a little bit quicker because there's a lot of slides, 2 presentations I need to go through. Again, here is all your different protocols. Not all of them, but a bunch of them, so everybody's aware. I want everybody to view this, to know this, to learn this, to understand this, and how this is really important and what you are doing when you're actually on the internet. You can go back, rewatch this video, go back, rewatch the other ones that I have, but this is very important to understand where you are actually going on the internet. Again, more information on how the URL is broken down, what the www stands for. Right now it's not that big of a deal because they're not using anything else, but it's something to be mindful and watch because maybe in the future someone slips something in there that redirects you somewhere else. Again, here is more of the URL. What the next bracket is, what the site actually is. You can see from the diagram it breaks it down more on what it actually is. Knowing this is again very important. Now you get down to the meat and the potato. This is the actual information of how you get to what site you're getting to. If you go to your C drive, you go into users, you go into admin, you go into desktop, then you go into your application or your file that's there. It's the same pathway as a website. So I wanted to elaborate a little bit of this, have everybody read it, understand. This is where the scariest factor comes in, is at the end of a website, you can actually direct them to a file, a graph, a web page, an executable, a download, a lot of things. This is where you can get misdirected and have problems. So I wanted to go through this again because this is part of the safety. Then you get into phishing. Phishing is your email, your voicemails, all the stuff that people send you, all the potential scams. Again, phishing and websites, I want to tell you that you do not know who these people are or where these things are at. So you got to take these things with some security involved. Here's the definition of phishing. Go ahead and read through it and understand what is going on, how it's going on. There's different kinds of phishing. There's different ways someone can phish you. There's spear phishing. These are all important factors that I just wanted to kind of sum up and bring in to available knowledge of everybody. Here's another phishing. Go ahead and read the descriptions. Understand what is the possibilities of you opening email, text messages, other things on traditional device and modern tech. Here's your modern tech. This is what they're doing nowadays that will really cause a lot of issues. Modern tech does not always give you all the information as your standard tech would give you. Here is your modern tech again. Now, again, I did say modern tech for this one. They can get you on an analog phone line. They can con you into giving them information and other things. It's not just a cell phone. Same thing here. SMS, MS messaging can be used and manipulated in a lot of ways. They can leave you a voicemail directing you to do something, to respond back to somebody. You know, text message 484. You don't know where that 484 actually is. Who actually paid for that? You don't know who you're contacting. So I wanted to sum that up real quick. This one I have not, again, run into too many times, but it is something that's out there that I thought would be a good thing to push out there and just let people know. Because knowledge is the key. You don't want to react to some things too quickly. You want to be informed to know what you're doing. Again, which one's the real site? This goes back to knowing what UEL is right. Because you can get phished, you can get redirected, you can have a lot of things that happen that can get you confused and not know where you're at. As you can tell, I have email mixed with website URLs because all these things come into you all different ways. You don't really know how someone's going to hit you with something and not understand where it's going, how it's being directed, what you're doing, and you click on something. You don't want to do that. Again, understanding what a real site actually is. This is important. Very, very important. This all comes into play. It's all mixed for a certain reason. Because I don't want you to think, oh, I don't have to worry about phishing because I'm not doing that. I'm not doing this. Oh, nobody's going to get a hold of me. You get phone calls. You get all these things that go on. Oh, you're a winner of a trip to Hawaii. Simply go to this website. They send you a text or a link or whatever to go there, and bang, they got you. Understanding where the link is actually taking you. If you highlight over it, it'll tell you where that link is actually taking you to. As you can see, it does not tell you it's taking you to yahoo.com. It's not taking you to bling.com. It doesn't say that. It has some other wording on top of it, and then you click on it. Now, when you click on it, it'll direct you to another site. So these are things you want to be aware of. These things are all intertwined. That's why this one is different than the other ones that I did where I broke them down separately. Because they're not really separate. You get your email spam mail, and not understanding the UEL, you click on it and it takes you to some weird site, and you try to log in and they got your password, they got your information and everything because you just gave it to them. This is things people can do and you need to watch out for the UELs. This is important because you get all of those emails, spam mail, texts, all the stuff that are trying to get you to do these type of things. Here's a definition, man in the middle. It's really kind of a strange thing to try to explain some of these things. A redirection. So you get a text message saying you're past due on your credit card. Click this link to send them a payment. You click that link, they redirect you to a different site. It's not your bank site. It's a site that looks similar to your site, but it's not the one you actually need to go to. That's the redirection. Here's another one. of when they change a letter in there so you don't realize you're not on the right site. Because you're moving a little too fast, you're trying to be in a rush, and you make mistakes, and that'll cost you. URL safety, knowing your links. Go ahead and read through all that, understanding it, what the redirections are. My recommendation, and a lot of other people's recommendations are, if you get an email, you get a text, you get anything from anybody, and you have a bookmark, you have a saved link, you have anything, go to that. Never ever use a link that somebody sends you. If you know that link is safe to get you to that place that you need to get to, use that. Don't use something somebody sent you. Understanding some phishing. Again, it comes in multiple ways. You have to be aware of these ways and understand what can happen. Here's the definition of phishing again. You're spear phishing. Your voicemail, SMS. That's your calendar again. These are very important factors to know. Everybody really needs to know these things. Let me change over to the other presentation real quick. This is your internet safety. Again, all of these things that I just went over and over again real quick with you rely to this. Knowing what your URL is and understanding that the internet is not safe. It's not only porn sites and other adult kind of sites that are bad for you on the internet anymore. I want you to read this and understand this, because this is really one of those things that is out there that causes a lot of people a lot of grief. It's just simple things that people don't understand, that you really think you understand, but you don't. Understanding an email. You know, what it is. What is email? Is mail the same as email? Which one's safer? Is email safe? You know, you get junk mail in your mail. I'm sure you get several every day. I get several every day of junk. Guess what? You get that in your email too. But you get a lot more of it. It makes it easier for people. Again, email is from someone or someplace you may or may not know. It is just mail, but very unsafe to open some of these things. You want to make sure you're aware of who you're getting things from. If somebody is going to send you something to download that you know of and you're expecting it, then open it. If you don't, discard it. Here I went through all the phishing things. This is one of the causes of all of these things to happen, is phishing. Phishing is directly related to all of this happening to your system later. You don't want these things to come up in your system later. So this is why I hammered at that phishing at the beginning. And this is where the internet safety, knowing what sites you're going to, knowing what's loading. Because the other factor I want to bring up is going to those malicious sites can actually load things into your computer, into temp files, into other places that will cause these things to happen. ahead and read through that, understand all that. I want everybody to really realize what I'm trying to explain to you. You have cookies, you have temp files, you have other things that get saved by opening emails and other things that direct you to these sites that do these things. So they're not independent bodies. These all are kind of independent things that can cause this. So they're all related, they're all intertangled together. And again, here's the list. Understanding your resources, understanding the path is very important. I went through that. Here's another little breakdown of it. Here's a description, basically man in the middle. Have the other video, went into a little bit more detail on these factors. Here's your redirection. What happens where you think you're on a certain site, you're not, it looks similar. A lot of things can happen depending on what they want to happen. Again, changing the letter, making you think you're on a site that you're not because it looks really similar. And here is some of that I've spoke to about. How did you get to this video? Most likely one or more, most likely all four of these things have happened to you by getting to this video. Where did you start from? Did you get an email? Did you get a link? Did you start from the YouTube site? You know, did you start from my Facebook, my Twitter link? How did you get there? Well, if you were on any of those other sites, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, you got redirected to my site. You got redirected to YouTube, to my link on that channel. So these are some of these factors that really a lot of people probably don't realize. This can be a safe thing that you have, is being redirected. Cookies can be used for malicious purposes. Temp files can be used for malicious purposes. Emails, text, links, all these things can get used for malicious purposes. But they also can get used for legitimate, good purposes. So this is what I wanted to go through so you are aware. This is really one of the hard factors for a lot of people to understand. And that should be it. So I went through this one a little quicker because I didn't want to ramble on for hours and hours and hours on this, but you can go back and watch it again. If you're more than welcome to show this to your employees, you're more than welcome to share this. You're more than welcome to send out a link to other people so they can go through and see this, to understand that it's not just one factor. It's all these factors combined to make sure you're safe, to make sure your data is safe, to make sure your files are safe, to make sure everything's safe. So this is why I already have the one video. This is why I'm calling this my 102, the blend, the mix. This is the more concentrated home run kind of a deal. This is so people are aware of what can really happen. Because it's hard to explain to someone, hey, be careful when you open emails because of this. And you can tell them this is what happens if you open up an email, blah, 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 blah. But nowadays, there are so many other things that happen to you due to you opening that email. I've mentioned, make sure you have your virus scan, your protections, all your firewalls, all of the type of stuff done. This is why. And you can watch those other videos. They go on and on for half hour, 45 minutes for each one of these categories. And is that really worth hammering that much information on? Yes, because the reason why I did that is if you have this happen to you, you're going to need that information. This is more of, hey, be aware, watch out for, know this information, so that hopefully you don't have to get to that point where you have to watch those long videos and you have to do more videos and more research and download a bunch of software to clean up your computer, or even to have to reformat it. If you're lucky enough to be able to reformat it, that it's not completely locked up or crashed or destroyed due to these factors. So I think I'm going to wrap this one up. I want to thank everybody for watching. I know I went through a lot of these slides pretty quick. Go back, watch it again, or go back and watch the individuals. But this is my 102 real quick. Go through, show you how those three items actually interchange and intermix with each other. That's very important to understand, because you'll see in the slides that internet safety and how opening an email and getting redirected to a website, or just opening a website, putting in your information, your email, then they can actually email you back and redirect you somewhere else. So you got to be really safe, got to be careful to know where you're at, and all of these things are intertwined. And again, like I mentioned before, you don't know what information the person's actually after to sell. It's kind of a crazy world right now to think of this, that someone is just after your name and your email to sell to someone else. That's all they're after. Once they sell all that off to someone else does something else. They want to know your address, so that way they can possibly mail you junk, they can send you stuff on your email, say, hey, did you happen to get that letter I sent you, blah, 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 and it was some junk email, something type of a form that they printed out, that they can actually put maybe a tracking number on, something to get you more interested in, oh, what happened, to get you to do more, to get more information out of you, and then they turn around and sell that information. So it's kind of a crazy thing that I've been seeing. It's not that someone goes out there and goes, I'm going to collect all the information on this guy and I'm going to turn around and sell it. It's just people doing little tiny things that are collecting millions and millions of people's data, and every person they get, let's say they sell that name, that email for $1 each, and they got 1 million of them, and make $1 million, and then they move on. It's not somebody making that $1 million score by encrypting your safe, your software, and encrypting your system. Nowadays, there's so much crazy stuff out there that it kind of surprised me to hear some of this stuff. So I wanted to relay that information. It might not be someone who's trying to take you down or hurt you. It's them just trying to get as much information so they can make as much money. And if they can do that in groups of hundreds of people and sell that information for, let's say, $1 each, and you're doing 100 people a day, making $100 a day, doing what? Sending out an email, writing a script that sends it out to 100 people a day and people are responding? You know, that's just something that's interesting to me to think of, that all this money and all this cryptocurrency is exchanging over what? Over the little pitty data. And then someone else is taking that and trying to expand on it, and then they sell it for twice as much as what they bought it for, or whatever the current prices are. I don't know. But, you know, it's kind of strange, because when you get into those big ransomware type things, you get into all that type of stuff, and you get into targeted phishing and that type of stuff, that's where this information here that I'm telling you, all this little data, comes into play. Because it's not only they're looking at your business email, they're looking at your personal email, they're looking at everything. So this is how they gather all that information. So, and again, once that information's out there, it's pretty much out there. It's anybody can buy it, anybody can see it. Making sure you change your passwords frequently, all those type of things are very important. So let me wrap this one up. I just wanted to classify all these things together. I didn't want to leave them separate and let people think, oh, as long as I don't have to do this, I'm fine, I don't have to worry about all of this. No, all these things get lumped together. You might think you're okay and accidentally do one thing that causes a whole world of a problem that is all of these things all lumped together. So, alright, thank you all for watching. I know this is pretty much a recap of the other 3 videos, but this is really how they all relate together. I want to thank everybody for watching. Subscribe, hit the bell. Thank you.